Friends, good evening to all of you. On behalf of Bharati Vidya Bhavan, IKSL Navi Mumbai, and associated partners, we extend a very hearty welcome to all of you for this monthly exciting online series of sessions, let me put it that way, sessions on various topics in the area of Indian knowledge system or IKS. This journey we started about, let's say, about 16, 17 months back. And thanks to Sapnalekha Madam, who we are seeing on the screen, we are continuing our journey very steadily, enthusiastically for the group as a whole. And the people are not in a position to attend for any reason. We are uploading the YouTube videos also that you can have a look at it at your convenience. Today there is a small change. Actually, what happened today? The topic was supposed to be the story of Devi Ahalya. Suddenly, the speaker got ill. We entered into an urgent call with Dr. Sapna Lekhajar. What to do? Should we call it off or should we not call it off? But she's an extremely resourceful person, and therefore she could get immediate replacement. And today, so we are going to have a talk on. Another interesting topic, possibly more interesting topic actually. The topic wise, I'm talking on more interesting topic. It's not on a character, but on an issue, which is called the Vedic calls the Pancha, the five debts, what you call it, in the extreme thought of the gratitude because of these five rins. So I am grateful to Dr. Sapnaleka for arranging this particular talk, and I am requesting her to take it over. Dr. Swapna, floor is open to you.
Thank you so much, sir, as always, and namaste to all of you. And I'm saying it is not my resourcefulness. I think it is the I think the combined energy of all the seekers who are here, which made this happen. So after Sharvani ji, who was supposed to have presented on the topic, said that it would be difficult for her, I called Dr. Sengupta. And within 2 minutes, I called Dr. Aditi Tyagi over here up. And guess what? She's not one of those people who are usually free. But I know that she's very knowledgeable and she can speak impromptu on anything. And she was driving home and she said, yes, 40 minutes. I'll be able to make it. And so here she is. So thank you so much, Aditi, for being so forthcoming in saying that I'll come and do it, because it's not easy to say that. And all of us know that you have not put a lot of preparation into it, and you'll be speaking just from your, what should I say, residual knowledge that you have of the subject. So let me just introduce you. Like all other speakers, I always say that Aditi is also one of my favorite people in the Indian knowledge system world. And before I talk about her, I should actually talk about the lineage that she comes from. Her grandfather, Narayanji Mishra, was probably the first person who converted Indian knowledge and scriptures into management literature, which we could all read and understand from. And in fact, the foreword for his book was written by Dr. Karan Singh. That's a kind of a stature that he had. And Aditi has been very fortunate to have inherited that from her grandfather. So, and this is the book that I have. I'm showing you right now over here, that I always have. I always refer to. He's written the preface of the book from the ICU. And his last lines read that, may this book inspire people to become a better person. These are my last words. And I'm now closing my eyes. So every time I read this, I get a lump in my throat. And this is the kind of a person who was Aditi's grandfather. So we are not surprised that she knows so well about the subject. She was a banker by profession, but this entire pull of Indian knowledge systems has taken her into academics. And now she is a professor. But her specialty lies in teaching ethics, which we call dharma in our traditions. And she's an expert at that. And like all experts in Indian knowledge system, we keep on learning, and she also continues to learn. So today she would speak about the Pancharina, which is, we say, our philosophy of eternal gratitude. So please welcome Aditi over here, and please feel free to keep on asking questions in the chat box, because since she's speaking organically on this, your questions will only keep on help her actually give more direction to what she's speaking. So all over to you, Aditi.
Thank you so much, Swapnadi. Thank you so much. Jai Ganesh. Namaste, everyone, and a very warm good evening to all of you present here. And I'm really grateful to the organizers at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan and yes, you, Swapnadi, who called me and who thought that, I could be one of the speakers here. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And as you said that, yes, it is a very, very impromptu decision and will make for a very organic talk over here. And right at the beginning of it, you've made me very emotional, honestly. There one point which I was looking at, where I always start, and that point came to me from the person who's organizing this. So I am actually very emotional there. Thank you very much for reminding me that because it is actually a part of what we are talking today. When we talk of Pancha, Rin, the word itself, there are certain words that we go to whichever part, not only in our country, in India, but wherever Indians are, their meaning never changes. And Rin is one of those words. One is karma. Karma is always interpreted the same way. Another is rin. Rin is always interpreted the same way. It's a debt that we carry, something that we have borrowed or something that we have taken. And we basically operate out of that philosophy. Now, when I've had the privilege of teaching Indian knowledge system to thousands of graduate and postgraduate students. Also, having worked with the executives, with professionals in executive programs. One thing always came to me, as you pointed out rightly, Swapnaji, that we are all seekers in Indian knowledge system because it's not only an ocean is a very, very small word. It's about universe, multiverse, basically, if we literally dive into it. In that, when we talk about where to start, is something that I always encounter with everyone, with all the seekers of Indian knowledge system. They say where to start because academically it can be taken through etymology, through ontology, and so many things. But when we look at it through our lives, we are already living it. And I think this is one point which we should all always think about when starting. Our Bharatiya society is based on samashti, which means collectiveness. Unlike the Western world, which is based out of vyashti, individualism is what is always more focused there. So coming out of that collective philosophy, we talk of duties first and rights later. And we come, especially in today's times, a lot of people ask me that how is Indian knowledge system relevant or contemporary today? And my interest area solely lies there, making it contemporary and making it relevant to people today. And this is where it comes in. In today's times, in the VUCA world that we are living in, basically, it is very, everything is so dicey and everyone is running after what they have to get out of it. Nobody is thinking about what actually our duty is. And talking of Indian knowledge system, I think this concept of Pancharin, the 5 debts that we are born with, the moment we come into the organization of human life, because this itself is a full-fledged organization with different phases, different stages of a human life. Right from the moment we are born with these 5 debts, the 5 rin that we have. Now, we all know we have to pay back these debts. Let me first tell a little bit about what debts we are actually talking of. Now, the first debt, since we say Pancharin, the first debt is the Dev Rin. Dev, we mean about God Almighty. We refer to all the great forces that bind us together and that keep our earth intact and us intact. Talk of Mother Earth, the moment we, get up, start walking, do everything, whenever it is out of balance, there is trouble. Talk of water, rains, fire, sun, wind, air, everything around, the great forces that actually are running the show, they are the Dev Rin, and we owe to them. The pollution part actually comes into them. That yes, we have to maintain them, we have to take care of them, and we have to be so grateful to them that they are sustaining us, right, in the best of the manner. So this part is Dev Rin. The next part is Pitru Rin. Pitru Rin basically refers to our forefathers, not only our parents per se, or grandparents or their parents, lineage, the entire lineage, whoever has put in their bit to bring us today over here. We have borrowed from them and we have learned so much from them. Our standing today, we owe to them. That is Pitru Rin, is what we call the second type of rin. The third type of rin is the Rishi Rin. Rishi Rin is the debt that we owe to our great sages, teachers who have taught invaluable knowledge. I think of everything that exists today. Let us start with something as simple that comes to my mind is zero. We cannot live with it, without it, right? That was given by our sages. The knowledge of Ayurveda, without that, any kind of medicine that we see, which is now called alternative medicine, actually, that was the real medicine. So that wouldn't be possible. All this knowledge and so much knowledge about architecture, mathematics, a beautiful example, of an entire system of IKS would be the Brihadishwar temple. We'll talk more about it later. The Brihadishwar temple, what all work these ancient sages have done, the architectural marvel it is, people are unable to copy it today. The musical pillars, the way it was made, community, society, mathematics, social life, everything was there, right? So, and we owe it to the great sages. So this is about Rishi Rin, gratitude or our debt to them. The next part is about Manushya Rin. Now, Manushya Rin is the debt to our fellow people who walk this earth with us, right? So not everyone, and it not only includes, people, definitely it does people who are less fortunate than us, but it also does to every other living being. Our existence is because of them. And I always tell, people I interact with, and especially those who are interested in Hollywood movies, there was a beautiful movie of Will Smith with a dog where the entire human race had vanished. I am unable to recollect the name. I'll try to find it by the end of the session and tell you. So this movie actually told that the entire human race had vanished and the man had nowhere to go, nothing to do, nobody to look up to. And what to do? What would he do without anyone around him, except for a dog, which was also soon taken by the apocalypse that had fallen the earth, basically. So we owe everything to our fellow human beings. We are facing the upcoming pandemic is about depression and loneliness. So I am legend. Yes, Swapnaji, I am legend. So the upcoming pandemic is about this depression and loneliness, that despite having such a huge population, we are still lonely. So we basically owe to each other. That is the Manushya Rin that we are talking about. And the last one, and most certainly not the least, it is the Bhoot Rin. So when I say the Bhoot Rin, Bhoot doesn't here mean the ghost or something, because that's the basic understanding that everyone carries, but it originates from the Pancha Mahabhut, basically the 5 elements. So Bhoot Rin refers to the rin or the debt that we carry to all beings that are below us in this order of life. So trees, plants, forests, animals around us, so many things. And some people do ask me, is it actually referring to literal ghosts or bhoot also? Yes, if you want to consider, they are also, because as a society, we treat them also with respect, and we do things, offerings for them also, for their mukti also. So yes, they are also treated in this bhoot rin. So gratitude to them, and sustaining them also along with us. Now, these are the 5 categories of rin that we all are born with. The next in order would be how do we fulfill them, right? So when we talk of devrin most certainly is taken care of. Before I proceed on this, Swapna ji, is there anything that you would like to maybe, or ask or say? Nothing? This would be fine. All right. So basically, when we talk about how to fulfill this, fulfilling this would be possible when Devrin is fulfilled with a lot of, in ancient times and even in today, modern times, we do a lot of yagna. We do a lot of kriya and karma and processes that are there to basically appease these higher forces. When I talk of these higher forces, there is a terminology that comes to my mind. The root word of the word rhythm. The word rhythm originates from the word rit. Rit means that anything which is in order or which moves in cycle. When we look at our earth, when we look at our planet, our environment, everything is in a particular order. And when this order is disturbed, it wreaks havoc, basically. So when we see that, there are things like hurricanes coming up and there are volcanoes and so many things happening. Just a minute, I'm sorry. There was some constant notification. Yeah, apologies. So when we talk of Devrin like this, we see that the earth is no more in order. Somewhere in areas which used to be arid regions, there is excess rainfall. There are floods. Things are going wrong. Places where there used to be proper rainfall, there is no rainfall at all. We are not having enough rainfall. Why is this happening? Basically because we have wreaked havoc with our environment totally, right? So what to do basically.
You've mute yourself. Aditi, you mute yourself and the camera is also gone. Anyway, while Aditi was speaking, I just took the leeway of just dropping in over there what each of the rins mean. So before she comes back, we could probably all have a discussion over here as to how do we, one by one, if you look at each of these rins, then how do we actually repay these rins? So let's first look at, say, Devrin. So as you would see, we've written Devrin is actually all the rins that we have to pay back for all the divine forces which are keeping and sustaining this world. And Aditi introduced a very nice word called Rita. So you heard about the word Rita. Rita means order. We understand that there is intelligence in this universe because there is order. Like we've never had, can you imagine all heavenly bodies going around one another at the pace and speed that they are, and there's nothing ever which goes wrong? And to keep that kind of order needs some kind of um, superlative intelligence which carries on this entire thing. So this order is known as Rita, and the word Ritu comes from there only. So in our traditions, we say Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande. That means what is there in the microcosm, that means in our body, that is there in the larger universe also. So the idea of Pancharina is actually to make sure that all human beings behave in a manner that this Rita is not rigged, which is what has happened today, that this order has become very disorderly. So let's take, for example, Devarin. Okay, so Devarin is actually all I just put it in the thing in the chat box also. That Devarin actually means all cosmic forces of nature. Why do we have names for water? Varun is a devata. Why do we have name for fire, Agni? The entire idea of naming these forces was to invoke respect for those. So while Western probably I wouldn't say philosophy or the Western civilization is all about controlling nature, we were all about paying respect to nature because we know that it is nature only that sustains us. And when we do not pay respects to nature, we behave the way we behave. So, for example, if we have to be respectful to, say, water, rivers, will our behaviors not change? So, since all of us are here together, and I don't know where the facilitator has dropped down, we could probably do a discussion that since we are all. Oh, there she is. So we could probably, and I think that's the next thing that she's taking on, that each of these rins that we have, oh, your laptop went wonky, so you've come on the phone. So I was just introducing this entire and dwelling on the idea of Ritu that you said and order, and how the conception of Rin has been to ensure that humanity behaves in a way that this Ritu is actually maintained. So while I was waiting for you, I thought we could probably, and you could take the discussion forward saying, how do we actually pay the Rin back? So let's start with Devran. So we were talking about that. So over to you now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking it forth, and my apologies because something went wrong with my laptop big time.
It's okay.
So, basically, we were talking about how to pay it back. So, when we talk of Devrin, we have to be, and in everyday life, for people like us, for there are great, people who do who do the yagna and who do so many prakriyas, right? But for people like us who cannot follow such things on a daily basis, I think for us it will be very nice if we can maintain some level of mindfulness. A little bit of mindfulness goes a long way in maintaining this rin aspect, basically. So, for example, when we are using water, how much are we wasting and how much do we really need? I am maybe interconnecting a lot of thoughts, but the concept from Yam Niyam of Asateya comes to my mind over here. We should not have Asateya. We should not want excess, or we should not want to steal something or take something that is not ours. And be mindful if we need any kind of you know if we need to use this resource, it has to be mindfully done. Usage of electricity, usage of water, usage of making the best of the daytime, and we see Western countries doing it. The countries that do not have access to the power of our sun, right, they make use of this perfectly. So we should also try and align our lifestyle in such a way which is actually in rhythm, which is basically in rhythm with our body clock, with our biological clock, and that is what will enable us to become great, potential achievers in our life. Because we see that people who are in rhythm, who are in rit, they've written great books about the 5 a.m. club and so many things. Now, these people who are in rhythm, they are the real achievers, and they are contributing mindfully, again, in some way or the other to Devrin. So, as I said earlier, also the concept of pollution also comes over here again in Devrin. Then we come to Pitru Rin. What an important rin. And just having a discussion with one of my colleagues, Pitru Rin, how do we pay off Pitru Rin? And especially in the VUCA times where we are coming to a place where, yes, Swapnaji, waking up with the sun and going to bed is being in rhythm. When we talk of a generation, talking about taking it forth to Pitru, when we talk of a generation that is talking in terms of DINK, the Western influence is so much that we are talking of double income, no kids. How are we going to take forth what has been taught to us? My mother tells me that your grandfather used to say so many times when I tell her that just a couple of days back, I was talking to her and I was saying that I feel I am not doing enough professionally that I should do because I have a lot of responsibilities. My dharma is towards my family and everything. And she said that my grandfather used to say that a child is a beautiful painting that you create for life. So if How beautiful painting you create is actually up to you, the kind of input that you give. That is the first level of paying off your Pitru Rin. That what has been taught to you by your forefathers, the beautiful things that have been taught to you, the value systems that have been there, and also breaking the cycle, breaking the generational trauma cycles that you can become aware of and taking it forth. That will be your Pitru Rin. Another very interesting tangent that we were discussing was that Pitru Rin also needs to be not only bearing children and taking the family legacy forth, but also taking care of your own body, being in sync with your own body, because it comes through our parents and with the kripa and with the grace of God. We need to take good care of this vessel because it will enable us to perform whatever we want to do in our life. And getting a human body, I will not go there. Getting a human body is a very, very important and sacred thing. We don't get it easily, right? So making the most of it is also fulfilling Pitrurin, not being lethargic, being fit, eating good food, doing the right things is actually following Pitrurin in current contemporary times. The third one is Rishi Rin. Rishi Rin can be followed through, of course, following the teachings of what all have been told by our forefathers, by the great sages of Bharat. Not only learning that knowledge, imbibing it, and then implementing it in our life. Just understanding and, saying that my teacher taught me this or my teacher was so great, this is what he used to do. But actually, when we imbibe it and put it into our daily lives, that is Rishiran. I remember one of my professors when I used to teach, when I used to study, and I was quite a mischievous student then and a backbencher. And he never used to say anything. He was my banking professor, and what great technical knowledge he added to my profession. He simply used to call me from the back bench and he used to make me sit at the front bench. And that used to really irk me in those times. Now, being 15 years into this profession as a professor, as a faculty, I have that practice. I never yell on any of my students. I'll just simply ask them to come and shift. And I think it's such a beautiful practice without disturbing anyone, without disturbing the decorum. My work is done. And what he taught in a very, very subtle manner is taking forth and enabling the process. It's a very basic example that came to me immediately. But this is how we follow whatever people around us. And when we say Rishi Rin, it not only refers to the great sages, it can mean to so many teachers, so many Vriddhajan around whom we live, around whom we survive, and whose lives can teach us beautifully. They may be anyone. One of my teachers says, don't do so much, do less, but do it the best. This is so opposite to the world that we are living in. We have to do so much all the time, so much all the time. The quality, oh, it will be, done somehow. But emphasis is more on quantity these days, whereas the quality is somewhere taking backseat and the results are showing mostly, right? So I think, learning those little things that we learn living with them and implementing them in our lives is what basically Rishiran is all about. The times of COVID come to my mind. The way we catered our ancient knowledge in our daily lives, that was incredible. The way we took the entire Indian diaspora took to Ayurveda, and not only us, even other people started following us, right? So this is how basically we are implementing all this knowledge. Now this is about Rishirin. Coming back to Manushyarin. Manushyarin, how kindly we treat the people who are around us. Are we in a hurry every time? Are we even listening to them? What are we doing actually? Whenever a person is coming to our door, are we not bothering to even ask what she or he is up to? We are living very busy lives. Possibly not. We are only interacting with a limited number of people. We are going on the road and we are abusing people around us. And a lot of people ask me that, why are you telling us this, or why should we even do this when the world around us is not doing it? How will it make a difference? And believe me, Swapnaji, you would possibly know I was on that side at some point in time. कि अकेला चना कैसे भाड़ फोड़ेगा, बट वो अकेला चना बहुत ज्यादा भाड़ फोड़ता है. That the power of one being following it. Let's be kind. That's the simplest thing we can do. And in today's times, let's just listen. Let's offer a listening ear to anybody who's around us. A very beautiful story is. Am I allowed to give a little bit of story on this? All right. So, a very beautiful story is about a king who wanted to know what is the most important work, or what is the most important thing to do at any given point in time, and how to do it, how to fulfill it. And he asked all the great men in his kingdom, all the sages and everybody, and nobody could answer him, satisfy him, that what is the greatest thing, or what is the best thing to do, or what is the most important thing to do in a moment. So somebody told him that there is a great sage who lives in dense jungles, and there is a cave, you have to go and visit him, and he will tell you what to do and what is the most important thing to do. So he went to that cave and he greeted the sage, and he said, would you please tell me what is the most important thing to do? He said, you wait, and tomorrow morning we will talk about this. I will give you an answer. So he said, at the moment he woke up the next morning, the sage was nowhere to be found. In fact, everything, especially the weapons, the sword that belonged to the king, was not there. And when he went out of the cave in search of the sage and the sword and everything, the sage was standing there with the sword. And the sage showed him that sword right at his neck. He pointed it at the king. And he said, now tell me, who is the most important person in this world right now? So the answer came after much thought. It's you. I said, why? Because you hold my life in your hands right now. So it's you. You are the person who's most important right now. So he said, okay, fine. What is the most important thing right now to do? The most important thing right now to do is being with you, maybe talking or negotiating with you, so that this sword is taken off from me. And what is the most important time? I mean, what is there to prioritize right now? It is now. What is happening in this moment? So when I talk of Manushya Rin to anyone, I say this is the least we can do. The person who's in front of you, you can serve them by listening, by just being kind to them. If you do not have the time
अपना
to,
मैच
you do not have the
अच्छा
time to listen, we can be at least kind enough to tell them that please let us connect post this. There's something happening. Very nicely, that can be done. Manushya Rin. And words make a great difference, especially in today's times, which are so harsh. So, Manushya Rin, helping people around us be and let be. When we are judging everyone so much, the moment we see somebody, we judge them. Let's not do that. So, I think that will be, you know, a great going for Manushya Rin, having compassion, karuna for everyone, being kind to them. That is Manushya Rin. And of course, if we can, offer things to the underprivileged people, do so many things for them. We can teach the uneducated, we can provide supplies to people who are not privileged enough, and so on and so forth. The last one is
So, yeah.
Bhujarin.
So before you go on, Aditi, I'll indulge. If you permit, then I just wanted to introduce another concept for Manushyarin. There is another very beautiful concept in our philosophy called Rinanubandha. That means we are all tied to one another with Rin, which means that anybody who appears in our life, there is some debt which has to be settled with that person. So when we know that we have this, I'll just put it over here. If we know that this phenomena is there, that everybody in our life has come into it because there is some debt to be repaid, our way of looking at them will all of a sudden, I think, change, because then you don't look at them as interferences, annoyances, people that are no good for you, who are against you. You all of a sudden start looking at things that, oh, there must be some rin which has to be settled. So then our whole view at what Aditi you were saying, to look at the world compassionately, has a cognitive reason also, which is actually very selfish, to say that I want to close all my debts. Who wants to die with debts? I want to close all my debts. So if this person is behaving in this way, there must be something which is there. So you start looking at the story behind people, and your outlook to life becomes, I think, saner, more compassionate, and all of that. So for the Manusharin, I just wanted to bring that thing in, because you
Thank
always
you.
talk about it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Swapna ji, for bringing in that point. Absolutely 100% there. Rinanubandh. And it also reminds me, which maybe we can take in a later chat or a later talk. There are substances that can enhance or basically even decrease the Rinanubandh that we have with different human beings. So, a very, very gross example of that would be, we never, in this region and in a lot of other parts of India, I've seen people do not give salt from one hand to another, right? That's it. Actually, saving this, it is because of this only, because it's an energy carrier, right? So, thank you very much, yes, for bringing that concept in Rinanubandh. I couldn't hold myself from pitching in this thought also. So, definitely, most definitely, Manushya Rin coming to there. And then the last one is the Bhoot Rin. What a beautiful concept it is. Now, people talk of PETA and people, talk of so many things that, this is how we are doing to dogs. We are serving dogs, we are serving different animals, and even at the cost of human safety, so many times we feel. And I especially want to bring in this point because we are not, there is a conflict between these rins basically. We are not looking at the people who are in our family. We are not catering to them with the basic manushya rin, and we want to go out and fulfill our bhut rin. There is this conflict that I'm seeing a lot in today's times, right? And when we talk of bhut rin, it refers to our rin, our debts to all the beings that are lower in order to our lives. So, of course, it comes to trees, jungles, and animals and beings. And we already know that this is a researched fact that in the last 50 years, 70% of the wildlife has vanished from this earth. And David Attenborough has made a beautiful documentary on it, and the man has been researching anyway a lot on it. So we must really work hard to conserve them. And how can we contribute when we come to think of it? I think by constraining our lifestyles to a particular limit. The ever expanding lifestyle, the ever expanding greed contributes a lot to it. The concept that at which I started is where I will again come to. The concept of samashti is somewhere starting to miss. And that is why we are coming to the Western philosophy of Vyashti, where we want everything for ourselves. In a family where we used to live in joint families initially, joint families, the first chapati that was made, the first roti that was made was for Gaye, right? Now, if this is not Bhutarin, then what else is it? And there was one roti for the crows, there was one roti for the dogs, the last one used to be for dogs, and sprinkle something outside for the ants. If you find something left around, please keep it. We'll give it to the fish. And especially for places like where I live, it's all landlocked places. So we'll go to a water body and we'll give it to a fish. So this used to be organically there in families, in family systems. Slowly, the family systems from Samashti are coming to Vyashti. The commercialization that has creeped in, talking of rights, that, oh, it is my right and I should have an independent life. No doubt we should have. We all owe it, but with a cause of duty first. I always come to it. Before asking what our right is, we must come to duties. And we must see that is our lifestyle hampering the environment around us too much. Can we make safe spaces for being? Let us keep the house clean. Let us keep the kitchen clean so that cockroaches, ants do not invade in the first place. Let us maintain that hygiene instead of immediately thinking of a pest control methodology first. So, the work has to begin here. It has to begin within. It is our duty first. So, when we do not do, such encroachment, beings are never going to be harmed by us. In fact, the place I live in, we have rats, we have snakes, and it's in the heart and the hustle bustle of the city. But in my compound, we have rats, we have snakes, we have ants, everything. Everything is there, and everything is living peacefully, is what I see, not only in our family, but in the entire society that we are dwelling in. Everyone is living in harmony because the systems have been such. So, as human beings, I feel we must create such systems. Today, we talk of Bhoot Rin also partly comprises the cleanliness and hygiene part of it. We talk of so much waste segregation, and Indore being the center of excellence for it. I'm from Indore. I speak here in Indore as I sit here. Indore is a center of excellence in terms of the cleanest city, waste segregation. And when we talk of it, this has been continuing since ages. At least when I was born, I remember when there was no such thing as waste segregation. I've seen it happening in my family that plastic will go separate, paper will go separate, wet waste used to be composted at home. This is all catering to, the Bhutarin part of it. And of course, in a greater way, catering to the pollution, the Devrin part of it. So when we see, we actually complete a full circle of it. It's nothing is linear in nature. In our Bharatiya Sanskriti, that's the beauty of it, rhythm, or as we spoke about it before, also rit. That is always in cycle. It works in cycles. And if it doesn't work that way, there is a little imbalance also. We see chaos. We see chaos everywhere. So, Pancharin actually embodies the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam that we all stand for. Everything holds its importance. Every being, everything around us is so important, and we have to repay and be grateful to it at all times and be mindful of it so that we can fulfill our duties and we can fulfill that rin at all times. I think with that, I would like to close what I have to say, Swapnaji. If there is anything you would like to prod upon, please go ahead. You are muted. Swapnaji, you are muted. You are muted. We can't. Yeah.
Oh, so I just want thank you so much. I think we're very clear about what the entire idea of why we have this concept and what does this actually mean. I think we need to all therefore think about what it means in our regular life. And you ended on something called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So I also wanted to since I have we can talk about it. You know, we look at Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam as a very separate, just two words. And I just wanted to share with all of you what actually it means. What it actually means is that, this distinction that this person is mine and that person is somebody else's is only something which narrow minded individuals believe in. For those who are broad minded and noble of character, the entire earth is their family. So basically, it talks about this broad mindedness. And when I say broad minded, doesn't mean that, uh, I let my children go to English medium schools. We are not talking about that broad mindedness. When I say broad minded, means inclusiveness of the kind. So, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, when we say it says that we do not look at dualities in society. We don't say this is mine, that is theirs, this is lower, this is higher. We look at everything and we say that entire earth and whatever it constitutes is actually our family. And this comes from the idea of, as you said, Aditi, of the Pancharin, because everything that is there in our Indian philosophy is actually meant to maintain the balance and the rhythm that the earth has. And all traditions have been put in place so that our activities on a day-to-day basis are such that we don't disturb the balance and actually enhance the balance. So when Aditi spoke about how we used to give that first roti to the guy and the last to the dog and to the crow and the ants, this was a system which was devised so that, so it is bhoot rent. So I'm doing it because I'm paying back my rent. But in a way, what am I doing? I'm making sure that the cycle of the earthly cycle keeps on going. All beings get what they are required to get to stay alive. And as Sadhguru very nicely says, that if all insects were to die, then our human race will come to a stop in probably a few months. But if human beings were to die, then everything would flourish. And that is what actually tells us how poorly we are doing on this whole rain front. So I think that it's been a very enlightening talk, and
Can
there's
I
a lot left
add
with
one
us to
thing here?
actually think about. Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So because you mentioned about the insects, I'm remembering that was one line of thought which I missed saying here. There is a beautiful series called Rotten on Netflix,
Okay.
and season one, episode one has about information about honeybees and how if honeybees were to go extinct, within 15 days, the human race would go extinct. And
See.
it's a beautiful documentary about how the ecological system works and how so much we are dependent on it. So I think that can be a great series for everyone to take for part of the Bhutarin and the Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam concept you mentioned, Swapna ji.
Great. Yeah. That's a useful piece of information. We'll also go and check it out. Any other questions from anyone? Any other thoughts that any of you would have? Just unmute and speak. We still have about 10 more minutes, and we can close at 8 o'clock.
Okay, ma'am, can I just
Sure.
listen? Yeah, I'm
Sure,
Mrs.
Jayashree
Aditi here.
ji.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Aditi, ma'am, it was so real fun to have an impromptu talk on an issue which is very, I feel is the need of the hour today. And I really feel very happy that we could get to hear what you spoke. And as you say that our culture has always been promoting connectivity. Today, unfortunately, we are connecting to each other through mobile, not face to face. As you said, right, we start from Devrin, all the elements which were made up. I think our culture is so beautiful. Every festival talks about them. We have a Shankran coming where every element of nature which is important for us is celebrated, whether it be sun or earth, water, everything, along with the farmer who does so much for us. So it's so beautiful. When it comes to Rishi, I think everybody talks about all other knowledge provided, but nobody talks about the Rishis who talked about self knowledge. You should first know who you are and then know the other whole world. Because within you, the everything is consist of. That is what we are told. And I think that is something very unique to our culture. Every Upanishad ultimately at the end talks about know yourself first. And ma'am was talking about Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We are all connected through the consciousness, which even physicists and other people are arriving at today, saying that all of us have the same thing. Outer element, we may be different in the term of Annamaya Kosha and other things like that way, but ultimately we are made up of the same substance. That is how we are able to connect. And similarly, the Pitru, I just wanted to tell you, if you don't mind, is there people look at it in a different way. Many people say, why should we do rituals? Is it really going to them? And there are some people who don't do it, but when some astrologer tells them something is going wrong, then they start, when they never cared about their parents, they suddenly start doing all rituals. There are, different people, but today even science proves, as you rightly pointed out, ma'am, the lineage that comes, Mendel's genes, whatever recessive dominant, whatever the genes we have, ultimately is a collective thing. And as you say, what in fact, I do not know how far it is true, but a lot of research is going on even in the astrological and other field where they say that you inherit not only the debt or the money of the other people, even what they have failed to do, you have to face it. That is what they say. I mean, a lot of things thought is put on that. So where you, as you rightly said, we could break that this thing also
Cycle.
issue. Yeah. And then when Booth, as you said, right from putting the rangoli in the morning or feeding the crow, putting the thing to birds or to anybody. And in fact, very funnily, I used to say I have a Shani temple nearby on Saturday. It is crowded and everybody pours oil. But many people say, actually, they say that Saturn is pleased when you help the poor, give the food or clothing to others, which is ignored. What is to be taken is not, but they believe more in this like that way. So I think I really enjoyed it, ma'am. Thank you so much. And values, I think that is what small little way we can smile at least to others. If not, talk to them and acknowledge their presence itself. Every small thing, I think, carries us in a long way. Thank you so much, ma'am. I really thank you, both of you. And thanks, sir, for arranging this beautiful talk.
That was so nice to hear, Jayashree. Of all the things that you mentioned, it added to our body of knowledge and understanding also. And this is what satsang is all about. So great. I think that we've had a nice, fulfilling session. Thank you so much, Aditi, for bringing in at the last moment. I can never thank you enough for this. Thank you so much.
No.
We've had all a very nice, what should I say, enlightening session. And I'm sure everybody else, I speak on behalf of everyone else, that we've had a good time. So probably we could close it on this note. Thank you so much. Sir, you would want to close the session?
Swapnaji, and thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
It's okay, fine. Thank you very much, Dr. Aditi. It was an excellent session. And Dr. Satnaleka, you require more than gratitude and thanks. So thank you, everybody over here. Thanks a lot. Goodbye and good night.
Thank you so much. Good night. Namaste.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Namaste, Swapnaji. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.